Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Mystics at the Grocery Store. We're back. It's another week, well, couple of weeks since you've seen us. Excitingly, maybe in taking in what the energies are presenting to us at the beginning of a calendar year, we're going to do some shifting with our kind of structure of things. So we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end, but just know that there are some fun changes coming. But today we are going to jump right into our topic, which is about tarot, which is a tool that we all use. And I think you guys probably have more experience with it than me because it was really something that came up for me last year. I'm still getting used to the fact that we're in 2026 and it's freaking me out. But yeah, so we're going to spend today chatting about tarot and sort of the things that we use it for, how we use it, why do we use it, what do we like about it, and if we have some time, like specific cards that either kind of inspire us or challenge us, all those types of things that whether you're an avid tarot user or just interested in it, it would give you some things to think about and things to try. And we'll also talk about maybe some spreads that we like too. So, ladies, I guess let's start with why do we each use tarot as a tool? Adrienne, how do you and well, why? Why do you use tarot?
Let's see. Currently, I'm attracted to it a lot more because it is related to the astrology as well. So I like to piece the two of them together. Um, but I don't know. Has it been 2 years, maybe 3 years? I don't really know. But it just started with the Oracle deck, and then it just transformed into the tarot deck because it's more rigid. And I was
Mhm.
definitely more afraid of it at that point in time because I was like, there's just so many meanings to all these different cards, and if they're in reverse or not. But it's a way it supports me when I'm kind of feeling a little bit like, how do I feel about this? Or
Mhm.
what is this energy that I'm feeling? And and it gets me out of my way so that I actually get into the intuitiveness of just looking at it and seeing what pops out at me at any particular time, no matter what the technical definition is, because I like to use my own intuition to what jumps out at me at this particular time of whatever's going on with me. So that's
Mhm.
why I like to use it.
Yeah. Melinda, why do you use tarot?
I use it to learn about myself and others. And I've used it for many things, planning classes, looking at the energy of my day, helping to make decisions, helping other people make decisions, but also because I'm a little nerd and I'm a scholar at heart. And I really love the everything that's even behind the cards, the whole system. It's so comprehensive in terms of like our spiritual path and
Mhm.
our life journey and the things that we can encounter both like on a big spiritual dimension plane of growth and evolution, but also on our day to day, like, the minors are like day to day crap that could come up that are very like down to like getting along with a coworker or not getting along or like dealing with like really small, deep, quote unquote, small. Nothing is small. In fact, most of the time, the things that irritate people are that are actually connected to something very important and very big. So the cards are like willing to deal with everything and they speak the truth. They don't sugarcoat generally. So I do like to use them along with Oracle, but even more than Oracle in a lot of ways. I will like go to tarot for like the truth, and just deal with what is. That's what I like about them.
Mhm. I will say that that's what intimidated me at first, kind of like what you said, Adrienne, because it's like so comprehensive and there are um more, I guess, set, but still open to interpretation of like set meaning per card. And like you're saying, Adrienne, whether you pull it like upright versus reverse, like there's more of a overarching meaning that everyone kind of takes with tarot. versus Oracle, which is much more open-ended and kind of gentle and like, it gives you like, I love Oracle, don't get me wrong. But I have noticed that like the more I've gotten into Oracle decks with more structured meaning and then tarot, the less I'm going back to Oracle because it is just so simplified to like a sense or meaning that I'm like, I need more. But I use it for the same thing. I use it for understanding myself. I use it for asking specific questions or seeking guidance around like situations. Yeah, it's just, I feel like you said, Melinda, it's like it gives you the solid truth, especially if before you use it, you kind of, you breathe into your space before you use it. And I always set the intentions of, I'm using this tool for higher truth or connecting with my higher mind and not my own ego. Like that's like my intention that I set before I even draw the cards. Just so that I know I'm getting out of the way of what I'm trying to understand and I can see this higher perspective. Or else I would probably just keep getting stuck inside the loops of what I'm like thinking and feeling anyway, without seeing like a broader perspective.
Yeah, it definitely helps with the perspective portion of it because when I have to, I'm a little bit guilty of it in the very beginning. I would like try to remember what it was about, and then I would go to the book and like, oh, that's not what it's about. And then it would be like, well, why didn't you just trust your intuition? Because, as I continued to pull, it was like, oh, now I see why I said what I said about that card when it doesn't really mean what it says in the book. So now when I get a deck, I don't even open.
Yeah.
I don't open the book at all. It's like I would like to be able to trust my intuition and what comes through for me. And
Mm-hmm.
then I would like to go back to the book and go, okay, the number one means or the number eight means or this type of thing. But yeah, I definitely agree. Like there's, even guys, I'm guilty of this. Like I will pull a card to say, I need a co-pilot for the day. I already know there's no filter here. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with anybody's interesting qualities. And I know that I will have to. So I have to kind of get myself into a different perspective, a different energy flow. And I'll pull a card and it will either be my co pilot and go with me, or it will stay on my altar for me to, okay, reflect. Oh, yeah, I remember that card. Or, if a situation comes up where I just can't say what, I would love to say sometimes. And it's just, I just reflect back on that card and all of its different meanings. And it's interesting because some people at work will be like, what are you thinking about? Are you in a mood? I'm like, no, I'm just focusing on my mantra of whatever came through when I pulled that card. So it's a very powerful tool. And I can see why some people are scared of it as well. Um, but I just would like to invite you to um, remember that whatever you touch, whatever you set your intention to, if you have positive intentions, the negative, the scary, it's not really going to be attached to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna it's not gonna hurt you. I
No.
guess I'm just trying to say.
No, because we still have free will, right? So anything that we pull, whether we're seeking guidance or like, like you said, just seeking some type of like, what do I need to be aware of today or what support do I need? It's still your choice on whether or not you're going to kind of keep that in your back pocket for the day and be like, okay, I got, oh, this is reminding me of that thing and how I should be taking it or not. So it's still always your choice on how you use it. But I did love what you said, and this gets like even deeper into the how we use it personally. Um, when you were saying you don't want to use the book, because I know when I was first learning tarot, and I still feel this way sometimes, I just am like, I do get that initial hit of what the card is trying to tell me. And then I'm like, but hold on, I don't want to assume that I like know what this means because I still feel like I'm a beginner. So there are times where I like want to look, but then I do still write down like the initial interpretation because I think it's important. And then, I mean, usually there's like a bridge between the book and like the intuitive, but also I think when you don't rely on the books as much to tell you what it is, that allows you to be more open to maybe not the whole entire card is speaking to you at that time. Maybe it's part of the
Absolutely.
energy, like the image, or maybe it's just part of the word. And you're like that. That's something I think when people use Oracle, um, that you're easily taught is it's like it might not be the whole card. It might just be, part. But I think even though tarot is much more structured, that still applies in terms
Mhm.
of how to use it for what you're seeking.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a lifelong
Mhm.
relationship. And in the course of a life, there's tons of lessons and learning, which
Mhm.
is what it's all about. And so if your curiosity stays kind of guiding you, it's going to be a weave of your intuitive knowing, but also then going into some analytical back to book learning because the tool and the technology is set up very strategically to help us broaden perspective. So just to stay only in intuition for me is not enough. I want to sometimes, yes, I'm going to trust my intuition with it. But I'm also going to, in my, in the back of my mind, kind of go, okay, I want to learn a little bit more about that. And I'll go into the study and then it'll blend back in. But there's no rush for that process because that will stress everybody out. If they're like, I don't know, I don't know. You know so much. And you know that everything in your life is a mirror for you. Everything in your life is telling you something important. All the things that are around us, and how we respond and react to anything are telling us something. And it's the same with each of those little like wisdom teachers of the cards. And I do love how Adrienne uses her cards sometimes as the co-pilot for the day. I really feel like that really highlights how each card has an energy like a spirit. And you actually are bringing the spirit of that card in as um, like it's just like your friend, like it's your yes, it's your co-pilot, maybe it's a little teacher, but it's your friend. And you're like having that conversation with that friend in the background to help you navigate all the other conversations that you're having in front of you with people. And it just kind of gives you that pause to take a moment and reset and reframe whatever experiences you're having. And like you don't feel so alone. You don't feel so like jumbled. Like it gives an organizing energy uh, to your day. So I really like that, and I encourage people to like actually no, not if you get overwhelmed with it, like to just one a day at a time, like a card at a time. You know, sit with a card and even take a week with a card, in the background and like meditate on it and like notice things and just let it kind of come over you. Like it's just like patience in terms of that. And then it's just so layered. They're so layered. There's so much going on. And then the more you are with them and like they become your friends, the more you're like, oh yeah, there's that triangle that you never saw in the beginning. And yet there it is embedded in the card. So all the sacred geometry, all the layers. And I just love that it keeps like you never get to the end. You
Mhm.
never, I never want to feel like I know that. I know that card. I don't know. There's a lot of mystery. There's so much
Yeah.
mystery and like that's what excites me about
The
life.
joy of it. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I agree. That's definitely the joy of it. When you were talking, I was thinking about the wingman, like you going out for, I don't know, drinks or something, and you got that wingman going, you've had too many drinks. That's not the person for you. Your goggles are too thick. Let me clean them for you. Come on. Or, like that kind of a thing. Or your girlfriend is like holding your hair when you're
I've done that for somebody, but I was only 11 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't drinking. They were.
That's good.
Learned early.
That's
That's
good.
important to know.
I learned so early, sadly.
Sisterhood. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And Melinda, like you were saying, I feel like it's up to the individual person. Like you can use tarot as deeply as you want or as shallowly as you want, if that's a word. Shalalalala.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo.
Um, but because there's so much symbolism in them, like whether it's the suit or the individual like colors used in the card, or is it, are there roses in the card? Are there, you know, I mean, there's just so many different layers, which is what's fun about it if you are the person who's like spurred on by like knowledge and learning and like studying something. Like it really can be a neat tool to study, because once you begin to kind of get that deeper understanding, you do walk away with like a very, I can use this practically every day. Like there's a lot of like, I guess gratification in like learning about it, because the more you learn about it, it just makes your interpretations even deeper. And that's always like really exciting. But I like the Copilot. I kind of do something similar, I guess. But most days, my questions always kind of vary, but I pick like one or two. So most days, my questions are either what does my higher mind want for me today? Because I feel like that gets me out of my own way. And so that's always very enlightening. And then I'll ask either like, what energy am I called to embody today? And that kind of feels like your co-pilot question, because it's kind of like, what's the thing that I need to be carrying with me consciously to embody throughout my entire day, not just something that's going to like inform a part of it. Like, what's the thing that I need consistently today? Um, and then sometimes I'll ask, what energy do I need to keep an eye out for in terms of, you know, potential triggers or situations that might knock me off my groove and alignment. So I kind of use it more for those sorts of specific questions, but I mean, there's always different types of spreads you can use as well, whether it's, um, I mean, I always love sometimes doing like an energetic health check to pull a card per chakra. And that might be like a once every couple of months kind of spread. Um, People often use it if they're trying to decide something like in a situation. So you pull like, what's the energy if I choose this outcome? What's the energy if I choose this outcome? And you look at it that way. People use like past, present, future energies, things like that. What sorts of spreads do you all find yourself using more regularly, I guess, and even not regularly, whatever you use?
I'm drawn to the 3 card spread because, three is my number. But so I'll do past, present, future. But lately, I've really been working with challenge, support, and gift.
I
And
like
that
that.
again, that's all those planetary things coming in. What's the challenge? What's the support? And what's the gift once you get to the other side? I do like the Celtic cross as well. Um, and then, I just have to ask, like, I just got this new deck, and like, we probably do need to discuss how to set your deck so that it's not, all
Mm,
kinds of crazy.
yeah.
But um, and my first 2 pulls were just so amazing. I didn't want to put them back in the deck. I was like, no, these are awesome. I'm keeping these out. Like, do you ever get to a point where like you've got a spread in front of you and you're like, oh, this is phenomenal. This really resonates with me. I'm not touching it. It's staying here for years.
I have felt that way. I felt that way when I did my like beginning of the year spread. It was just so, it felt so spot on, but it was like 15 cards. I was like, I can't keep these out for too long because I need them back in. But yes, I have felt that way for sure.
But then you
Juicy
take a
readings.
picture, right? You take a
Yeah.
Then you take a
picture,
picture.
and
A
then our
picture
camera
lasts
rolls are
forever.
full of
Seriously, I
spreads.
take a picture every morning because I don't take my cards to work with me. So every
Mm.
day I've got my morning spread. So
Yeah.
yes, take a picture and then you can put your cards back and not even worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love to do, if I don't have a pressing question or energy that I'm like making inquiry around,
Mhm.
I will do a morning, noon, and night spread. That's one of my favorite things. So that's again
I
3
like
cards.
that.
And I will do, yeah, what's the energy of the morning? What's the energy of the noontime? And then what's the energy of night? And I'm just, I love to leave like room for like what will surprise me. That's kind of in
Mhm.
the background of like, I know things will come into my life that I didn't anticipate or expect, but sometimes I look back in the evening after I've done, because I'll do the pull in the morning when I first wake up and then go back in the evening and reflect on everything. And it's always so fun and magical to see what actually came up and how on point everything was. And
Mhm.
so I really like that. And then sometimes if I really want to, if I have a little extra time, I'll turn the deck over and look at the bottom of the deck for my
You do
kind
do
of an
that a
over.
lot.
I
Yeah.
do because it really gives a wash to the whole story, because there's a
Mhm.
story created with the cards that just weaves, and then there's sometimes a little extra sprinkle that is at the bottom of the deck to help it.
So
And
how,
it's
because I'm
nice.
not usually a bottom of the deck drawer. So how, what else do you call it? So how do you like what do you think that means? Is that like hidden energy? But just that situation, it kind of sounded like more depth to
It's going to feed into
all of it.
all of them. It's going
Mhm.
to just sort of give a little, like I think of it as a watercolor, it's going to just, it's going to bring everything together. And it
Mhm.
may be something that will, it just depends. If it resonates with one of the cards more than another, it might be pointing out some kind of a somewhere that's going to really be highlighted. Maybe it's going to be, and you may not see it until retrospect, and then you start to have a relationship with the bottom of the deck. You have to get into relationship with your bottom, Rosalind.
It's true.
You just have to give some time to your bottom.
Here, let
That's
me
all.
just, I'm gonna sit here with what's on the bottom of my deck right
Just
now?
like, what is it?
8 of Wands.
See, it's
Love
Action.
that.
energy.
Action.
It's yeah.
That's the
Absolutely.
energy of my bottom.
That's it. And I
Eight
just
of
looked at the bottom of
Wands.
my deck and it's Page of Wands. So you see it, same thing. It's
Hey,
like
Adrian, where's your
curiosity,
deck? What's your bottom?
curiosity. What's
Okay.
the bottom?
Mine is the Five of Pentacles.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, like you have to integrate your bottom into
Yeah.
the foundational
don't leave your bottom
anchor.
in the cold.
Well, I like to use it like when I flip it over and I look at that bottom card, I'm like, this is my support.
Oh,
Sometimes I'm like,
okay.
this is my support. This is my
Mhm.
foundation that I'm going with. And yeah, that's how I like to use it. Of course, I'm looking at it and it's a Taurus card. So I'm like, of course that's what I want it to be because Taurus is really grounding and so
Love that.
but it's how I like to use it. Like that's
That's
the
fun.
supporting card. And then sometimes you'll pull another card just to be like on top, like what's the overarching energy of everything
Hmm.
here. So it can get really, you can use the whole floor actually.
I mean, I've seen people draw for readings and they literally just take, okay, the first one off the top, and that starts the narrative. And then they just keep drawing each top card, and it just like builds and builds and builds this incredible story and like focus for someone. I've never drawn that way. I've never even tried it, but it's always fascinating to me that you just like, however it's shuffled, I'm just gonna
It's
pull
fun.
it and
It is magic. It would be, you
Yeah.
should try it sometime.
I
I have
should.
done that for some readings where it's just like they had just gone through a really, really hard time in their life. And they were just like, I can't even just please. They needed the support of just storytelling
Yeah.
and letting the cards do it. And I was like, well, we can do it this way. And I can just one after the other and just
Mm-hmm.
allow spirit to speak through the cards, through me in the situation. And it's incredible what comes through, and it
Mm-hmm.
resonated for her. And
And when it resonates like
amazing.
that and you're pulling it that way, I mean, that's just one of those moments where you're like, wow, this is magic that this all applies.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so, yeah, I'm gonna add that to my way to, I'm gonna try it. I don't
Wait,
know
but
what I'm gonna try it about.
I have a question for Adrienne about a recent, like, just to get into the concrete, like a recent Copilot that comes to your mind that you pulled that really helped you in a very specific way. Like,
Oh, whenever I pull, um, I was going to say The Alchemist. That's
Wrong one, wrong deck.
temperance,
the magician. Whenever I
or the
pull the
magician.
magician card or the perspective card, the three of, I just, to me, a real live incident of where it was occurring was, I had that perspective card and that was the co-pilot. And I was like, all right, let's see what's going to happen today. And it kept falling off my deck. And I was like, what is going on? So I get to a stop sign and pick it back up, and you're going to stay here like you usually do. And then all day at work, it was just over and over and over again. Look at their perspective, look at their perspective, look at their perspective. And even with coworkers. So, we deal with I deal with the guardians, I deal with the animals, that aren't trying to bite you. Some of them are actually trying to bite you, but they usually don't feel very well. And then the parents are usually nervous and scared and not knowing what to do. And then the coworkers are stressed because this is also going on. So, I was just looking at the different perspectives, and it has gotten me through a 12-hour shift and then I giggle on the way home because then it stayed put on the dashboard. And I was
Oh.
like it was falling off, like, remind me, you're going to need this today, so pick it up and put it back. The action of putting it back on the deck was actually solidifying, like, don't forget about me, it's about perspective. Today is about perspective.
I love that.
So cool.
How about you, Rosalind?
Recent, like
Like,
a recent something.
yeah, like a recent, like, one that's like just really helped carry you through the day.
I think lately it's been the Empress, in this sense of reminding me you don't have to force, you don't have to try, whatever situations that I'm dealing with or trying to work through and process. It's like you can just be on your chair, all comfortable, lounging, like in your, divine feminine power of receiving. Yeah,
Yes.
like just totally, it's that reminder of like getting in the flow state, staying in the breath, staying in comfort, making sure that nothing that I'm doing outwardly is like constricting myself, or yeah, it's just been such a big message of sitting back, trying to stay relaxed, not letting stress, really affect like the energetic flow. Yeah, and she just seems like a total badass of owning her life and being in charge of it in like the most relaxed way possible. I'm like, I would like to be that. Yes.
I
I
love
feel
her
that way
too.
about the is it the Nine of Pentacles, where she's just like,
Yeah, with
she's
her little
dressed,
falcon, and
oh
she's just,
yeah,
yeah,
she's like,
those
I am
two.
not worried.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Melinda?
Well, lately, it's been the High Priestess. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
for today's episode, I asked Tarot in all sincerity what is a card of support for the episode, and it was the High Priestess who came through. And she is, I mean, she's an incredible vision. Just first of all, she's quite striking. I have her on my moon altar. Um, and she, of course, is very lunar energy. There you go.
Yes.
And she's just really representation of like how I do what is it that I like to try to feel on the inside, which is equanimity,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the central channel, the middle way, not getting pulled, and tugged in either direction. She's very much in her authority and her alignment. She's very in touch with her feelings and understands, you know, the water energy, but she has her foot on the crescent, you know, down, and she really, it's almost like she can come to a state of awareness and stop time for a moment to just be. And she has the book of wisdom, you know, that is hers, you know, it's there and it's connected to her, you know, that full moon energy at her kind of a third eye crown. And there's so much in that card. Everything is in that card because there's like so much hidden symbolism in there. There's hermeticism is in there. So all the layers are in that card. And it's like she is, to me, the queen of tarot, you know, in terms of like needing to go beyond the analytical in all, you know, and really actually she's saying meditate on these cards and bring them into your energy being within, and a deeper understanding will come. You'll feel beyond the veil that's behind her. She's just can access all this information that's hidden through that, because you see her stare is like everything about tarot. That particular deck, the Rider Smith Waite deck, is very like intentional, like the direction of the face, the way the gaze is. And she's like very like kind of she's in another zone. She's like, and she's an oracle. She's trance. So yeah, totally. That's who I'm vibing with.
I really like that one too. So much so for like I like what you said about like the pausing time, because what I was thinking was like her columns are past and future, and she's just in the present. She's in the middle, paused, taking what is needed, like only in the present moment. And I think that's super powerful. What were you going to say, Adrienne? Were you going to say something?
I think she's saying that the answers are in the present. Is when I pull her, that's what I get. The answers are in the present. But yeah, what I was thinking, like, and then my mind just keeps going, like, to be a fly on the wall when they were designing these cards.
Oh my gosh,
like, okay, well, she's got to look a specific way, and her face has to be. What if we do this and make this and this? Like,
so much, so many layers. I don't know how they did it, because I mean, I don't even know what year was this deck made.
Well, these were like 1920s.
Okay.
I actually have the book, but my laptop is actually laying on it. So,
okay, let's not move it.
So I'm not going to move it just yet. But yeah, I was hoping that this book was actually going to give me some detail as to what the artist was actually thinking about when she designed these cards, and it really doesn't. But it is good to hold my books up.
I know that there was, you know, Pamela Coleman Smith did the drawings, did the illustrations, and I know that all of them who worked on the deck were magicians, and they were very much into the esoteric and the hermeticism, and but I know that she, you know, she was there's a great story behind it.
She's got an awesome story.
But she was really into like theater too. So she was really into costumes. And so every little detail of the cost, I know she inserted things in there too that was just hers, not I think was it Arthur Waite? Is that his name? Anyway, he wasn't the illustrator, but he was like, okay, probably said that should be like this and this and this, and she would do that, but then she embedded stuff in there that was just hers. I mean, her signature alone is so incredible in the deck. It looks like a caduceus.
Yeah, it's so cool,
and I love that.
Makes me want to change my signature. How do I make my signature more magical?
I want to do that too. Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, tarot, I hope that listening to this conversation that people are like excited about it, and that maybe you go and do a little research or like play with your deck in different ways and use different spreads. But it's just such a neat tool. And I'm like, it's one of those things that I'm just really grateful for in my daily practice, that just makes me feel like I'm able to have a glimpse at a deeper level of my life and of like each day. And I feel like that is just, yeah. Because I always begin the day by like, I think you kind of said this, Melinda, like what can surprise you? But for me, it's like, how can I be surprised by the divine today? Like, how can I see beyond like just the mundane world? And I feel like tarot is kind of like a step in that direction,
Mm.
especially when you get to the end of the day and you look back and you're like, oh, yeah, these were spot on.
Yeah.
Craziness. Any last thoughts, ladies? Any
Yeah, I
last
just want to
thing?
throw two things out there. And this is a question for both of you, like clearing and then getting to know your decks, because
Mhm.
you do want to get to know your deck. And I don't necessarily let everybody touch my deck. Actually, nobody touches my decks. There's a specific deck that I do have that people can touch because I feel like it's a connection for me and my higher self.
Mhm.
But when I clear my deck, I usually knock on it 3 times and clear the deck. And sometimes I'll give it a kiss. But whenever I get a new deck, it does go on one of my altars that gets the moonlight. And then sometimes I'm sitting and doing something on TV or listening to something, and I just sit here and just so that I can get to know the deck. The deck gets to know my hands, gets to know how I shuffle, how I can't shuffle sometimes.
Yeah.
But I pose that question to you guys too. Like, don't be and don't be afraid. Just experiment with it.
Yeah. For me, my tarot deck, because of the like material of the Rider Waite Smith, I'm not afraid to shuffle these. So before I use them at any point, I shuffle them 3 times, like the traditional like card shuffle, where you split it in half and then you fold it into the center. And that to me kind of clears it from the past energy, like the past day. Whatever the day was before, it doesn't matter. That's like how it clears out. When I get a new deck, I do the same. I put it on my altar. And then I will like just, yeah, shuffle it, start to use it. You do kind of get a feel for it. I don't know if I have a strict rule that people can't use my decks. I don't really have people that try to, but I do feel particular. There's certain decks that aren't shuffled that way, that are only shuffled by like dropping the cards into your other hand because I don't want to damage them, and I want them to stay perfect. um but yeah, I do feel like you really do build a relationship. Like you get, it's almost like, different crystals. You kind of get the frequency, the vibration of your deck towards you. And like the more intention you put into a deck, I feel like then you start to kind of meld. It's like you just more and more you use the deck better, you understand it better, you vibe the same.
Definitely. You definitely, I agree with both of you. And I do the same as Adrian in terms of like really getting to know the deck, consecrating the deck, you know, sh shuffling as much as, just sitting around, putting your energy in the deck. Um, I'm very sincere about the deck. I'm very when I ask a question, it's like with all sincerity, there's no like, yes, it can be lighthearted, but it's always very like I trust what comes through and I'm not effing around and it's not effing around, and
Mhm.
it, it's just, and it deserves, and so how we approach it and what it represents like how it's going to play out for us. So I also, I go 9 times. So I do nine because I love nine, because nine,
9 knocks for
nine,
anybody not
I do nine
watching.
knocks. 9 knocks. And then I got it like for this deck, this is my deck that nobody touches except for me. The one I'm holding a deck in my hand, and I got it a special
Mm.
tarot like bag, and I have my evil eye attached to it. So also like how you wrap, like some people, and I have some decks which I wrap in like cloth or textile or silk, or wrap it in ribbon and like keep it in a special place, put incense to cleanse and clear it.
Mhm.
But then I have a deck which I do work with people with sometimes, and like I will have, that's a deck which I can do a like a fan out of spread, and people can choose from, a card from that. And so I do like to have a deck that if I'm working with somebody that they can also touch and make the choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an interesting experience for them too, to be able to do that. So I don't feel like but I don't do it with this deck. I have a special deck that works with other people, but it's kind of like we made that agreement, me and the
Mm-hmm.
deck, like that's the deal. So
Yeah, whatever
You're the deck.
agreements you set.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, listener, we hope we've given you food for thought. Comment, let us know what do you like, what's your favorite deck to use? Are you more of a tarot user? Are you more of an oracle user? And if you are a tarot user, I would love to know kind of what we said, like the standout card for you as of late. What's been like really speaking to you? That would be really cool to see what people are, how they're using their decks and who's talking to who. Um, so, yes. So, a note about the format of our episodes, exciting changes. So, every other week, we're going to come out with 2 episodes now. So, the first episode will publish as it always has on Tuesdays. That will be our spiritual, mystical, whatever topic that we decide to talk about. And then that following Friday of the same week, we will have a separate episode for the astrological weather, where we'll talk about all the lovely things cosmically going on up in the sky for us, and just all of that goodness. So we're kind of splitting it up a little bit. So you get a little bit of a little bite in the beginning of the week and a little bite at the end. So we're just going to play with it and kind of see how it goes. But yeah, so that is all for us today. We will be back on Friday with our first astrological weather episode, and we will see you then. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.